The bike gets a lot of head turns because it has an incorporation of old and new, and it's got, you know, like a very classic cafe look to it. People can't quite put their finger on exactly what it is in terms of which year it came from, because it's a combination of different parts from a bike. It has a Super Sport 750 tank, a custom seat, but a 77 to 78 style CB750 frame, and that is slightly different style than the 69 to 76 frames. And then the front, people, if they're not initiated as to the CB750 mods out there, they don't necessarily recognize the front end as a Goldwing front end. They're just trying to find out how I mounted these calipers rear facing rather than forward facing. Like I said before, it's the vintage bike with some modern touches that it's a little bit better than the stock bike. Hi, I'm Don Leonhardt. This is my 1977 Honda CB750. This is a bike that I bought off of eBay for about $200. It came from Wisconsin out of a barn. And it was a runner when I bought it, but it was pretty ratty. And it was going to be my rat bike while I built another CB750. And curiously enough, this bike was finished before that bike. I'd characterized the bike as being a Resto mod. Because it has a lot of the character of the bike of its era, but it's got some new updated parts and some modern features and in terms of brakes and suspension and whatnot. It's been a long-term project that's gone through a lot of different iterations or evolutions to where it is now, and I'm pretty happy with it now. This bike, like I said before, has a Goldwing 1976 Goldwing front end grafted onto the 77 CB750. Headstock is the same size, and so it is just a direct bolt-on conversion. So all that's been done in terms of the frame modification to adapt to this is that I've actually just put in roller bearings from all balls so that the steering is a little bit better in terms of the bearings that are in there, because it comes with roller bearings. It has a Dime City Cycle billet top triple tree, because the risers on the GL are quite obtrusive and they come out. And then it has an Acewell speedometer, tachometer that's been adapted into the system. So you have everything from trip to temperature to the time to RPM to gas mileage to a bunch of different functions, voltage. And then you can also dial it in to whatever max RPM you want it to read, whether you want it to be up to an 8,000 scale or a 10,000 scale RPM. The switchgear has been completely replaced. It's all modern switchgear made by K&L. The nice thing about the modern switchgear is it's built a little bit better than the old 70s style switchgear, and it also adds more functionality. There's actually a press to pass function, so you can flash your high beams. You can completely switch off the headlights so that it creates less of a load on the electrical system when you're starting the bike up. It also has a Pro Taper clutch. This is a bearing clutch, so it's a lot smoother than the stock clutch. It has a lighter and more even pull for a standard clutch, cable clutch. It has a Brembo master cylinder, and the Brembo master cylinder provides a lot more stopping power to feed to the dual GL brakes, since it's going from a single rotor to a double disc rotor with a larger caliper as well. So included some Rizoma replica rear view mirrors just to kind of add a style point, and Vortex clip-ons to replace the original handlebars that would have clamped onto the top triple. The tank is not the stock tank off of a 77 or 78 750K model, which is what the bike is. Rather, this is a 1976 Super Sport tank off of a 750. It's been modified. These scallop knee dents have been pounded into the tank. All the body parts on the paint have been painted a house-style black, but then there is a ghosted checker. It's called Ice Pearl is the color, and it's just a subtle color, and it pops in the shade. In the daylight, you can't see it in the daylight, but once you go to a shade, you can see the checkers going down the spine of the bike, and it starts at the fender, goes to the spine of the bike, of the tank, and then to the tail, and then there's some pinstriping. And this is a vintage Honda motor logo from the bikes of actually the 1960s. That I just like the logo of the Honda motor logo rather than the tank badge. The tank badge originally was welded. They had welded mounting points into the tank, and those were body filled as well. The seat is a custom steel seat that was fabricated by Ian Halcott of Cafe Racer Seat and Tank, and he will basically make any type of seat or tank to your specifications, and he made this one for me. I have a truck light LED headlight, and the truck light LED headlight is actually brighter than the stock headlight and draws less current off the bike. And it also has the press to flash function so that you can get the attention of a car in front of you, or if you're riding in a group, you can let your buddies know that, hey, you're trying to get their attention. The front end also features new rotors. These are not the rotors off of the GL, but these are EBC rotors. They are lighter, and they are floating, semi-floating, rather than the rigid mounted solid stainless steel rotors that attach right into the mounting of the rotor. The brakes have been completely rebuilt and also have EBC brake pads, stainless steel brake lines so that there is less fatigue on the rubber for the brake lines. The rims on the motorcycle are the wheels have been completely rebuilt with Excel aluminum rims. The rims are made by Excel in Japan, and they have a high shoulder to them, new stainless spokes, and then the original hubs were powder coated, and the wheel bearings were replaced with all balls roller bearings. The front fender was off of a 750 Super Sport, late model 750 Super Sport fender, and it was bobbed by my painter Andrew Babish. He goes by Bondo, and Bondo did all the paint work on the bike, and he bobbed the fender. The fork brace is made by a German company called Telefix, and it provides more rigidity to the front end than just the triple trees, and it stabilizes the front end and improves front end feel and makes it less wobbly. The turn signals on the motorcycle are also LED. They are made by Joker Machine. They're small, but they're fairly bright. The motor is off of a 77 750 K model, but it has a Wiseco big bore kit. It's been completely rebuilt down to the cases, bored out to an 836 with high compression pistons. The head's been ported and polished. There's some accents from Joker Machine, both the billet side covers and the tappet covers are all Joker Machine, and the Kickstarter cover is a Joker Machine part as well. The motor produces more horsepower and more torque than the stock motor. The stock motor, Honda claimed, produced about 67 horses at the crank, and now this one probably produces closer to 80. The intake system features K-Hine CR29 carburetors, 29 millimeter carburetors, which are a lot larger bore than the stock carburetors on the bike. The exhaust system is a 4-into-1, and it is a replica of a Yoshimura 4-into-1 system that was produced in the 70s. This particular system allows you it has quick release springs so that you can remove the header for maintenance. It also has a two-piece design at the bottom here so that if the rear portion of the header is damaged, you can pull off the rear end of the pipe after the collector. Then it's also been ceramic coated, which has some thermal heat dissipation properties. The muffler on this bike it has a collector and a baffle on the back end. It is quite loud without the baffle, so my neighbors appreciate having the baffle in the exhaust system, and it tames the bike, and I think it also provides a little bit of back pressure, which increases the mid-range torque of the bike. The side covers are reproduction side covers. It's hard to find old Honda vintage side covers that aren't cracked or damaged from the sun. So these were obtained from manufacturer in England. Then I had them painted with a house black and the Ghost of Checkers, and then there's hand-turned gold leaf for the 750. Okay, the shocks on this bike are manufactured by Icon. Icon is the successor company to Koni that made the same style shocks through the 70s. They're made in Australia, and these are the stock length. They're 13 3/4 inches long, and replaced the worn out stock shocks that really had not much spring left in them.